Right now, the day's biggest news stories from a Vegas perspective. This is the Vegas Take with Sharp and Shapiro.
What's up, Las Vegas? It is the Vegas Take. Sharp and Shapiro, so glad you could join us on a Tuesday. Good morning, y'all. Welcome to the show. Oh, yeah. We got a lot to get to, a lot to go over today, including Bernie Sanders said some really wacky stuff yesterday in this CNN town hall. And by the way, if you weren't aware, the Democrats have a debate tonight. I believe it is in South Carolina. So if you recall, was very critical of Colin Kaepernick. I've always been very critical of Colin Kaepernick. And one of the reasons why is because he praised Fidel Castro. He wore a Fidel Castro shirt when he was in Miami. An evil, murderous dictator that was responsible for killing many people. And now Bernie Sanders, at a town hall on national television, praising Fidel Castro. We will get to that coming up at the bottom of the hour. It is ridiculous. And yes, some Democrats that are running for president are already responding, including Pete Buttigieg. So we'll talk about that coming up here in a little bit. So remember, we've been talking a lot about the homeless issue. Downtown, the new ordinance that Mayor Carolyn Goodman put into place that if you're in certain zones downtown and you're homeless and you're sleeping on the streets, you're defecating in front of businesses. I don't mean to laugh. It is kind of ridiculous. You could get up to a $1,000 fine. Find me a homeless person that has that kind of money. And or up to 6 months behind bars, right? A lot of people disagree with this. But because of this new ordinance being put in place, many of these homeless people are now moving just outside the parameters of where they're not allowed to be. Well, we have people in the Paradise Palms neighborhood. Their names are Sandy and Beth, and apparently now they have a lot of homeless people that are camping out right in front of their properties. We're going to talk to them about that coming up in hour number 2. George Zimmerman back in the news again. If you don't know who George Zimmerman is, this is the man who killed Trayvon Martin. The case made national news. He's had legal issues, outside of this case. And now he's filing a lawsuit against Pete Buttigieg and Elizabeth Warren. We'll explain why coming up in hour number 2. If you had a chance, yesterday during our show, this really emotional Kobe Bryant memorial, and Vanessa Bryant, boy, did she do a great job up there on that stage. What a courageous woman. We're going to have some audio, talk a little bit about that. Michael Jordan, not often that you see this guy openly showing emotion, crying. But Shaq spoke. Michael Jordan spoke. Lakers general manager spoke. Jimmy Kimmel did a great job in hosting this very difficult event. We'll get to that coming up in hour number 3. And we'll get to specifics coming up, but I just want to say this. I had a chance to watch it yesterday after our show. I watched the replay of it. The hardest part of that entire memorial was listening to Vanessa Bryant talk about her 13-year-old daughter, Gigi, who died in this crash, and saying that I'll never see my Gigi walk down the aisle and get married. I'll never see my Gigi have kids. I mean, that got me teary-eyed, man. That really bothered me. It was really brutal, but at the same time, it was great to see everybody come together, all the fans, every player, it seemed like, that played with Kobe, even players that played against him, that were friends with him. It was really a great gathering and kind of a final send-off and a final goodbye to what is and will be one of the best basketball players of all time, but one of the greatest people, Kobe Bryant. So we'll talk about that coming up in hour number 3 as well. Also, there is a Little League director in Pennsylvania. His name is Bob Bertoni. And this Little League team, they were called the Astros. Well, guess what? He ain't doing that anymore. Bob's going to tell us why he has stripped Astros and any Astros players off of his Little League team. No names are being used. He's going to join us coming up at 11:30 and tell us why and if that will ever change. I have a feeling it has something to do with the Astros cheating scandal. I'm pretty sure that's what it has to do with. He's going to be joining us coming up in hour number 3. So this is, for you Trump supporters out there. Many of you that were against Barack Obama for 8 years monitored his golf. Many of you that were anti-Barack Obama, Republicans, went after Obama for not being fiscally responsible, for wasting taxpayer money, so on and so forth. I heard that for 8 long years on Fox News. But I don't hear anybody talking about how Donald Trump is costing taxpayers millions of dollars because of the time he spent right here in Las Vegas. That's right. So previous presidents, usually on extended trips away from the White House, typically stay in the city of each day's final event. Trump instead traveled back to Las Vegas each night from California, Arizona, and Colorado to overnight it to the Trump International Hotel right here in Las Vegas. Now, what's the problem with that? You might be saying to yourself, well, so what? What's the big deal? Well, that required several extra hours flying time on Air Force One, and this plane cost taxpayers about $250,000 per hour in the air. So when you look at what the president costed taxpayers, millions of dollars because of that. Because he chose not to stay in that city that night, he chose to fly back to Las Vegas because he wanted to stay in his Trump International Hotel. Jordan Leibowitz is with the Citizens for Responsibility and Ethics in Washington. He said at this point in his presidency, there's no way to look at it other than Donald Trump is using his position and taxpayer dollars to make money for his businesses. This is beyond a conflict of interest. This is corruption, plain and simple. Remember, he's staying at his own hotel here in Las Vegas at the taxpayer's expense because he flew back. Again, it's $250,000 an hour to fly Air Force One. And when Trump was asked about his decision to return to Las Vegas each night just before he left for California, he claimed that he had nothing to do with it, which is complete crap. It's complete BS. We all know that. He said, largely the schedule is set by the Secret Service. We do what they want us to do, he told the reporters at Joint Base Andrews just before the plane's departure. He said, I don't set the schedule. I have nothing to do with it. You're telling me that Donald Trump had nothing to do with the fact that he wanted to fly back to Las Vegas and stay in his Trump International Hotel here in Las Vegas after flying out to these campaign events, multiple campaign events last week, and he means to tell the media that he had nothing to do with the schedule and he had no say in wanting to fly back to Las Vegas? I have a problem with that. Again, we're talking about fiscal responsibility, right? That's what Republicans want to talk about all the time. Is the president being fiscally responsible? Again, it's not only that the president is costing us, the taxpayer, millions of dollars. No, it's not just that. It's also the fact that he is profiting off his presidency, staying at his own hotel in Las Vegas. How can any of you who criticized Barack Obama for 8 years for not being fiscally responsible, who criticized Barack Obama for all the golf he played, not have a problem with Donald Trump's behavior just recently, right here in Las Vegas? And I would imagine that this topic is going to be spoken about tonight on a debate stage in South Carolina. At least I hope it is. Meanwhile, if you want to talk about people spending money, Mike Bloomberg continues to spend an enormous amount of money. Have you seen any of those video billboards on the Strip? They're actually quite funny. But Bloomberg, has more money than God, so he could really do whatever he wants to do. So what he did was he kind of turned the tables on Trump last week, and he took these video billboards, one of which is on, in front of Walgreens, right there on the Las Vegas Strip, and he has these billboards that are all set up. And like I said, some of them are quite funny, actually. Some of the slogans say Donald Trump cheats at golf. Another one says Donald Trump went broke running a casino. Donald Trump's wall fell over. So, yes, it's kind of funny. It's kind of entertaining. And by the way, some of it is actually true. So I had a chance to catch up with Oscar De La Hoya a while back. Oscar came on my show on another radio show. And he broke the national news on my show, and then the news went viral. It went everywhere, right? TMZ picked it up. Everybody picked it up. And the reason why I had, Hall of Fame boxer Oscar De La Hoya on my show, because he had a fight coming up that week, and I had no idea that we were going to talk about Donald Trump. I had no idea that Oscar De La Hoya was going to bring up the fact that he played a round of golf with Donald Trump, and he said Donald Trump was the biggest cheater on the golf course. So I want you to have a little bit of listen to this audio. This is an interview I did with Oscar De La Hoya back in 2016, And the interview went viral, and everything went viral, and it became a national story. And this was at a time when Donald Trump obviously was running for president, right, against Hillary Clinton back in 2016. So have a listen to this clip. This is Oscar De La Hoya. I'm talking to him back in 2016. Here it is.
When I was golfing with Trump at his golf course in Los Angeles, I mean, look, I witnessed it. He outright cheated, and not only once, not twice, but 3 times. And I mean, it was funny. I was cracking up because here you have a man who's a billionaire. We're playing on his course, and he has to cheat just to say that he beat me.
So you tell the story about how, right off the first tee, you hit it right down the middle of the fairway, and Donald Trump hits a couple balls in the water, he hits a couple balls out of bounds, and then he drives down the fairway, right? And then he says, "Oh, I found my first ball." I mean, how ridiculous! How dumb does he think you guys are?
By the way, I found my first ball, and he ends up getting a par. On the next hole, it's a par 3, and clearly he hits it about 20 yards past the hole where there's bushes, and we know it's out of bounds. So we drive to the green, and guess what? He gives himself a birdie. I mean, how can you do that?
There you go. That was back in 2016. So you might be saying to yourself, what's the big deal? Who cares? By the way, Donald Trump was asked about that interview that I did a couple days later. He denied it. He said he never played golf with Oscar De La Hoya before, and he said what Oscar's saying was a lie himself. Yeah, I'm sure Oscar's just lying about that, Donald. I'm sure that's what it is, but I find that to be quite funny. And I make this correlation, and some of you might disagree with, and that's fine. I think the way you act on the golf course is very similar to the way you are in life. For example, if you're a sore loser on the golf course and you don't respect the golf course, meaning you don't replace divots, you don't replace ball marks, you don't have golf etiquette, it usually means that you're kind of a scumbag in real life and you don't respect other people's property. If you're the kind of guy that cheats on the golf course and doesn't abide by the rules, usually you're the kind of guy that doesn't, or girl, that doesn't abide by the rules in life and breaks the rules in life. If you're the kind of person that is a sore loser on the golf course, usually you're going to be a sore loser in life. And I think there's some truth to that, and there's some evidence to that. The type of personality you are on the golf course usually transcend to how you are outside the golf course. And in this specific situation, Trump gloats on the golf course, he brags, and he cheats. Do I need to bring up a $120,000 hush money payment? Do I need to bring up the fact that he won't show his tax returns? Do I need to bring up the fact that he takes advantage of businesses, his businesses that have filed for bankruptcy to make a profit or to save himself money? Donald Trump cheats on the golf course. He cheats outside the golf course. And clearly he doesn't care about you and me, the taxpayer, because he costed taxpayers millions of dollars for deciding to fly back to Las Vegas every night after he had all these campaign events instead of staying in a hotel that night around the area where he had the rally. Isn't that a problem? If you're one of those people that talks about fiscal responsibility, if you're one of those people that criticized Barack Obama for 8 years, where are you now? All these people talking about the national debt and Obama getting us in debt over our ears. Do you understand that in the first 3 years of Donald Trump's administration, he has accumulated more debt than in Obama's first 3 years? But you're not going to hear Republicans talk about that. That's not something that you're going to hear them bring up. What a shocker. Going back to Mike Bloomberg, though, with some of these billboards, because they are kind of funny. One of the billboards wrote, Donald Trump eats burnt steak. Mike Bloomberg likes his medium rare. As I mentioned, the other one said Donald Trump cheats at golf. Donald Trump's wall fell over. This is my favorite right here, folks. Donald Trump lost the popular vote. Okay, that's a funny one. I kind of like that one. So my question to all of you, we'll take a quick break and we'll take a few phone calls on the other side of the break, is do you have a problem with Donald Trump spending taxpayer money? Do you have a problem with Donald Trump costing taxpayers millions of dollars for the only sole reason that he does not want to fly or I should say the opposite, that he does want to fly back to Las Vegas that same night for the only reason that he wants to stay in his Donald Trump hotel. Do you have a problem with that? Do you have a problem with Trump not being fiscally responsible, especially for you Republicans out there? Do you have an issue with that he's costing us taxpayer money? He's profiting off of it. It's not even that he's recklessly spending our money. He's profiting off of it, staying in his own hotel. Do you have a problem with that? The number to call is 702-257-5396. Again, the number to call if you want to be a part of this conversation is 702-257-5396. Talk about fiscal responsibility. Do you think the president did that in Vegas over the course of the last week? Coming up next, by the way, we'll also talk a little bit about Bernie Sanders praising Fidel Castro. We'll get to that in a little bit as well. Take your calls again at 702-257-5396. We'll take a quick break, and we'll be back right after this. You're listening to The Vegas Take right here on the all-new 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDAWN. Shapiro. Thanks for joining us on a Tuesday. A lot more to get to. We've been discussing Donald Trump and costing taxpayer money. Let's just call it for what it is. He decided last week to stay at his Trump International Hotel right here in Las Vegas. Okay, no problem. But when you decide to travel to Phoenix and other places surrounding states to do campaign rallies, and you don't stay in that city, you decide to fly back that night so you can stay in your own hotel and put more money in your pocket, which is exactly what the Trump family is doing. That's exactly what Donald Trump is doing. It costs the taxpayers millions of dollars. Air Force One, when you are in the air, every hour, it costs taxpayers $250,000 an hour. He costs the taxpayers millions of dollars. Why aren't people talking about this? Is that being fiscally responsible? I would imagine that is going to be talked about in the Democratic debate tonight. We'll take a few phone calls. 702-257-5396. Again, that number to call if you want to be a part of the program, 257-5396. Let's start with Carl. Carl, what's going on?
Hi, guys. Listen, you're talking about him making money on his properties. Well, that's been going on for a long, long time. Forget about the Trump property. All over the country, any of his properties, most of them are losing money. He stays there, and when he stays there, the Secret Service has to stay there and pay him for rooms they rent. He charges the government for everything. Everybody says how wonderful guy he is. He's given his salary back, $500,000 a year. He makes 10 to 20 times that on his failing properties that he only goes to so the government can give him money for.
That's a valid. No, Carl, listen, man. That's a valid point you make. I completely agree with you. A lot of the Republicans out there that want to talk about fiscal responsibility, but when it comes to Donald Trump costing taxpayer money, millions of dollars in this case, funny. They all of a sudden stop talking about it. 257-5396. Let's go to Steve. Steve, you are next up in the Vegas Take. What's going on?
What's up,
Yes,
Steve?
sir. Look, I lived in Atlantic City. I was union, and I worked on Trump's casino. You know what head counts mean?
Do I know what head counts mean?
Yeah.
Well, a head count is a number of people. It's a pretty simple definition.
I believe it's a term used by gamers.
Okay. What does that have to do with Trump?
kills.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Now, you have all the trades there. They have head counts for each trade, how many's on the job. Now, the contractor.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to. I don't mean to interrupt you, but what does this have to do with Donald Trump spending taxpayer money staying at his hotel in Las Vegas?
I'm talking about when he was going bankruptcy.
Okay, I'm not.
Everything is against him. I'm letting the cat out of the bag. Explain.
I'm not talking about that. With all due respect, sir, I'm talking about him staying at his Trump International Hotel, costing taxpayers millions of dollars. That's what we're talking about.
Okay, in other words, you don't want to learn anything about the man.
No, in other words, no. In other words, sir, we do a radio show, and when we talk about topics, we expect callers to have a brain and call in to stay on topic and talk. Do you want to talk about the Kardashians, sir? What do you want to talk about? Anything you want to talk about, you can go. No, when we're talking about a specific subject, it's not brain surgery unless you're a dummy. You call in to talk about the subject that we are talking about. Holy smokes. 702-257-5396. Let's go to Dave. Dave, you are next up on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, Dave?
Hey, how you doing, gentlemen?
Good.
Doing well.
Brian, you're a misguided and very understood person. You understand anything what I'm trying to tell you. The Secret Service chooses which hotel the president will stay.
So Trump had nothing to do with that.
He gets off the plane.
Okay.
The Secret Service does everything else for him.
So it's your position that you're saying Donald Trump had nothing to do with the fact that he stayed at his own hotel, nothing to do with that, and you're also claiming that he had nothing to do with the fact that when he flew out of state several times and held campaign rallies, and they flew him back to his hotel in Las Vegas every night, your claim and your position is Donald Trump had zero to do with that, and it was all Secret Service. Is that your position, Dave?
Yes, it is.
Okay, goodbye. Have a nice day. Have a nice day, Dave. Holy smokes.
Hey,
People
really,
have...
really good goal. The question is...
Holy smokes. JD, please tell me you don't agree with that. We got to go to break.
If the Secret Service made those decisions, then did the last three presidents also decide to stay at Trump hotels?
It's just absurd.
Or is Donald Trump the one that's staying at Trump hotels, we'll call it at an 80% higher clip than the last ones?
What an idiotic take. I mean, listen, if you want to be reasonable and say maybe part of it had to do with the Secret Service, but to say that Trump had nothing to do with the fact that he was staying at his own hotel is absurd. We'll take more phone calls on the other side of the break, 257-5396. Again, 257-5396. Take a break. Be back right after this.
Appears to be making progress in its fight against the coronavirus, but the group's Dr. Bruce Allyward says other nations should get ready.
People are arguing, is it a pandemic or not? Well, sorry. Why don't you go look at, have you got 100 beds where you could isolate people if you have to? Have you got a wing of a hospital that you're going to close off? Have you got 30 ventilators? Because you're going to have to help keep the severe cases alive for, they'll recover, but they're going to need to be ventilated for 4 or 5 days or a week. Do you have those pieces?
Health Secretary Azar admits the U.S. only has 10% of the 300 million medical masks needed to contain an epidemic. The U.S. Infectious Disease Rapid Response Fund is running out of cash. Both the White House and Congress agree on a need to replenish that funding. Turnaround Tuesday hasn't materialized today. Stocks are down again on coronavirus fears. The Dow off 380. I'm Mike Moss.
Paid for. It's time to check the roads.
From the Letterman Road Traffic Studio.
This report sponsored by your Southern Nevada Chevy dealer. A crash on the Western Beltway northbound at Town Center Drive. Watch for slowing in the area. And Highway Patrol with a crash I-15 northbound at the Southern Beltway in the HOV lane, blocking the HOV. Stay right to get by. On the surface streets, an injury wreck reported Reno near Las Vegas Boulevard. Looks like that is now in the clearing stage. Also an accident injury sustained reported Tropicana at the 95. Celebrate President's Day at your Southern Nevada Chevy dealer and choose from great cashback or lease offers or even low APR financing. Hurry to a Southern Nevada Chevy dealer and drive away in a new Chevrolet. I'm John Michaels from the KDON Traffic Center.
Paid for by Bank on Yourself.
Would you get on an airplane if you knew it had a 50% chance of crashing? You may be riding that plane right now. If you have your money in a 401k or IRA and you plan to take out the recommended percentage each year when you retire, your chance of running out of money is 50%. 50%. But there's a better and safer way to secure your income in retirement. Discover how in a free book called Rescue Your Retirement. This wealth building strategy has never had a losing year in more than a century. In fact, even the man who invented the 401k now prefers this method instead. Get Rescue Your Retirement free for just a small shipping charge and enjoy a safe landing and a comfortable retirement. Get this free book and make sure you don't run out of money. Hurry, this offer is extremely limited. To get your free copy, just go to growwealthsafely.com. That's growwealthsafely.com to discover how to rescue your retirement. growwealthsafely.com.
Mark Levin, weekdays 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Now back to the Vegas Take on 101.5 FM, 720 AM. KDON.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take. Sharp and Shapiro coming up here at the top of the hour. We're going to speak to Sandy and Beth, they're from the Paradise Palms neighborhood. Apparently all the homeless people now are moving on the outskirts of that new ordinance that was put into place by Carolyn Goodman. They're not happy. They're going to tell us why coming up next at the top of the hour. But we're continuing to discuss Donald Trump and how he spends your taxpayer money and the fact that he stayed at his own Trump International Hotel last week in Las Vegas. He flew out several times for campaign rallies, California, Arizona, Colorado, but he decided not to stay overnight after doing those rallies. He decided to fly back to Las Vegas, which he didn't have to do. There was no reason for him to do it, at $250,000 an hour on Air Force One, costing taxpayers millions of dollars. I think if you talk about fiscal responsibility and you talk about Barack Obama and his 8 years lack thereof, then you probably should say the same thing about Donald Trump and all the golf he's played and all the money he's cost taxpayers. But it's not just about that. It's also about the fact that he profited off the trip. His family profited off the trip. He stayed at his own hotel. I mean, that's a pretty logical opinion. He made money off of this stay in Las Vegas while costing the taxpayers more money than he should have. I think that's a pretty fair statement to make based on the facts. And the number to call, 702-257-5396, is the number to call. Let's go to Jim. Jim, you're first up on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
Okay, so a couple quick facts. The industries and companies that have moved back to the USA and the billions of tariffs that we've collected more than cover anything that Trump's going to use on his plane flights. Next.
Hold on, let's stop. Hold on, Jim.
No,
I'll let you.
I only have a minute. Let me make my
You
point,
only have a minute. Okay, well,
Yeah,
we're on your clock.
I like that. I like the caller creating the
Show me
clock.
the paperwork where he spent money on his hotel. You don't know if he's writing that stuff off in making it so
Okay.
that he doesn't pay the
So
taxpayers
you're going to make a couple
by staying at
statements.
his own place.
So you're going to make a couple
You're
statements.
wrong.
You're going to make a couple statements, and then you don't have time for a debate. Is that what you're saying, Jim?
I'm going to listen to you
Okay.
when I hang up.
Oh, so you're going to hang up. So you're going to hang up. You're not going to stay on the
I'm not
line.
going to hang up. I'm trying to make a point.
Okay. So now let me make a point. Now let me make a point. If Donald Trump saved the taxpayer $10 billion because of the tariffs, I would still be talking about the same thing today, and that is this. There was no reason for Donald Trump to have to fly back to his hotel in Las Vegas. No reason. He had a rally here on Friday. That was it. He didn't do anything else here in Las Vegas except hang out in his hotel and probably get free room service, okay? He profited off the fact that he stayed in his own hotel. His administration and the people that were with him stayed in his hotel. The Trump family profited off that. Now, that is a fact. So if you want to make an excuse and say, well, look at what he's done. Hold on. I'm not done yet. If you want to make an excuse and you want to say, well, look what he did with tariffs or look what he did with this policy, that is not an excuse for recklessly spending taxpayer money, period. You are wrong, sir, with all due respect. You are wrong.
Can I say it? All right. Show me the paperwork where Trump made any money off of staying at his hotel. How do you know he didn't stay there and not cost any money with all the people involved?
So your take, so your opinion. I'm going to respond. So you're telling me that Donald Trump, the Secret Service, and all the people within his administration that, by the way, it's a fact, stayed in his hotel. The Trump Tower didn't benefit at all from that. Is that your position? They just free rooms didn't cost the hotel anything.
It's not my position. I'm saying show me where
I'm asking you a question.
The taxpayers paid for that.
Well, let me give you some facts. Okay, well, let me give you some facts since clearly I guess I wasn't clear enough with you. It cost Air Force One, it cost the taxpayer $250,000 an hour to fly Air Force One. He went to Arizona, he went to California, and he went to Colorado last week. After every single one of those campaign rallies, he decided not to stay in that city, but to fly back to Las Vegas instead of going straight to the next campaign rally. That cost taxpayers millions of dollars. Now, that's not an opinion. That's a fact, sir. Do you not understand that, or do you not have...
Okay, so can I make another fact?
Well, can you respond to that? Can you... Hold on, I'm not talking about Obama. No. We're not... No. We're not talking about Obama. You see what happens when I put somebody... Bye-bye, sir. Bye-bye. You see what happens when I put somebody in a corner and they can't defend his actions? Barack Obama. Did you see what that guy just did?
And the issue with Barack Obama is I don't believe he owned a string of hotels across the United States that he stayed in.
But this conversation has nothing... I understand, but this conversation has nothing to do with Barack Obama.
But that's why you can't bring up Obama under these circumstances.
Which I didn't.
Well, that's why he can't.
Yeah. I mean, listen, you put somebody in a corner, You asked him to defend something, and what does he say?
Give yourself
Obama.
give yourself a nice pat on the back. I think you deserve it, Brian.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Well done.
I needed a compliment this morning because our producer is acting like an a-hole. We'll get to that a little bit later. 702.
That's fine.
No, he's not. 702-257-5396 is the number to call. Let's go to Alonzo. Alonzo, you are next up on the Vegas Take. What's up?
Hey, what's up, Alonzo?
Yeah, it makes, it seems like you guys just got a serious hard-on for the president. If that's really the best that you have,
a hard-on?
Complain about the president.
A hard-on? So you're saying I'm sexually aroused?
Time on the plane or in his hotel room and things of that nature. That's crazy.
So can I ask you a question? Did you think Donald Trump had a hard-on for Barack Obama for 5 years when he said Barack Obama wasn't born in this country?
What does Barack Obama have anything to do with anything?
Barack
Obama's out of the picture.
Okay, first of all right, well, let me be very clear on your statement. I don't have a hard-on for Donald Trump, and it appears as though neither does Melania Trump because they don't sleep in the same bed. And it appears
that's a crack at the president, and you know that's not right. You know what?
Oh, well, is it right for him to have unprotected sex with a porn star a week before the elections and then pay her hush money payment? Was that all right?
Is that the best?
Was that okay?
The best that you really
oh no, I got a lot. Say? No, I got a lot more than that, sir. Would you like to hear some more? It sounds like you have a hard-on for Donald Trump, and you're wearing the Donald Trump knee pads.
Yes,
it does.
He's our next president.
That has nothing to do with. That has nothing to do. That has nothing to do with. That has nothing to do with this conversation. Zero, sir.
Yes, it is. Absolutely.
No. Oh, really? What does this
is
conversation have to do with it?
The president.
No, I'm not.
Make him look
I'm not trying. I'm not trying to do anything. Excuse me.
That's not going to happen.
Excuse me. I'm not. Excuse me.
The majority of the vote.
I'm not trying to do anything. All right. I've had enough of you. I've had enough of you. I'm not trying to do anything. Okay. I am describing to you his own behaviors. What he does, the things he says, and how he spends taxpayer money. I'm not trying to do anything, sir, with all due respect. 702-25.
And when you say you guys have a heart, I'm actually a pretty ardent Donald Trump supporter myself.
Well, this guy's
I think that what he's doing is, it's just a byproduct of capitalism. Until it becomes illegal, then he's going to keep doing it because that's what he's done his entire life. And I agree he will absolutely win the nomination by a landslide in 2020.
Which has nothing to do with this conversation, though. But that's fine. 702-257-5396. Let's go to Larry. Larry, you're next up in the Vegas Take. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, Larry?
Thank you for the call, Larry. Appreciate that.
Really great call, Larry.
702-257-5396. Let's go to Jeannie. Jeannie, you are next up on the Vegas Take.
Hey, Jeannie.
Jeannie, are you there?
Here.
Jeannie?
Are you in a bottle?
Here. Go ahead, Jeannie.
I would just like to say...
And I think we just lost her. I don't know what just happened there. 702
two really good calls.
702-257-5396 is the number to call. Why don't we go to Barry? Barry, you're next up in the Vegas Take. Jeannie, if we hung up on you by accident there, please call back. 257-5396. Barry, you're next up on the Vegas Take.
Hey, what's up, Barry?
Barry, did we lose you too? The Beasley Broadcasting phone lines are working very well this morning. 702-257-5396. Let's go to Al. Al, you're next up on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
Hey, Al.
Good morning, guys. How are you?
There we go.
Good.
All right. Well, it sounds like you're having some phone trouble there. I just want to say that is it that is it the campaigning that's bothering you that Trump's traveling around campaigning on our dime?
No.
Or is it the fact that he's specifically staying at places that are affiliated with him and his family?
That's a fair question, Al. I'll try to answer it as honestly as I can. I think that's a problem with politics. I'm not going to blame Donald Trump for that. I think in politics, both on the left and the right, people are spending way too much money and worried so much about campaigning instead of getting things done for the country. So that's kind of more of a broader issue. I'm not going to blame Trump for that. My problem, Al, is this. For the people that are saying Barack Obama wasn't fiscally responsible, the fact that Donald Trump flew back to his hotel that same day and stayed here in Las Vegas and profited off of it, staying in his own hotel, and then making matters even worse at the taxpayer dime because it's $250,000 an hour to be up on Air Force One. He could have stayed in that same city. He decided not to do that. Yeah, I have a problem with that. I have a problem with the president spending our taxpayer money like the way he did. So I hope that makes sense.
It does. So you're saying because he profited. Now, he would have had to stay somewhere regardless. And
right.
The plane
correct.
would have had to move.
No, but here's where you're wrong on that. So he flew. So he does this campaign rally in California. He doesn't fly straight to Colorado. He doesn't fly straight to Arizona. he decides to
doubling back.
Exactly, Al.
Gotcha.
And I don't think it's a ridiculous opinion to say that maybe he should have just stayed in that city, save the taxpayers a few $1 million. That's all, and not profit off it.
How long is that flight, Brian?
How long exactly is the flight?
40 minutes max?
I don't have the exact numbers in front of me.
It's not like you took a 4-hour detour.
To Brian's point, I think it's still wasteful. Like, it's not the best use of the time and the money.
Well, it sounds like Brian has a fuel grievance.
No, I'm
not saying that I'm agreeing or disagreeing one with that. I get his point, but I do want to say that one caller you had, that guy Jim, who tried to say, "Show me a bill." Look, at the end of the day, Secret Service, the people who maintain the planes and travel and handle all of the logistics that go with moving the president around for salaried employees.
Yeah.
So they're still getting paid. So
Right.
we are wasting money when he's doing some of the things he's doing.
Al, I
don't blame the guy for traveling and campaigning and doing exactly what every other president
I don't blame him for that.
did.
Al, listen, I agree with you. And by the way, I do appreciate the phone call. Al, thank you very much. I don't.
Good call, Al.
I don't disagree with you. I don't have a problem with the president campaigning. That is a systemic problem in politics.
You just want him to fly commercial, right?
No, I never said that. That's a ridiculous thing to say. I never said that I want him to fly commercial. That is nuts. I think it's a very fair statement to say that he did not use the taxpayer dollars accordingly. 257-5396 is the number to call. Let's go to Jeannie. Jeannie, you are next up on the Vegas Take.
What's up, Jeannie?
Thank you for taking my call.
Sure.
And I would like to just say we don't know why this happened this way, and I feel like as Americans we need to support our president. We need to quit bickering. We need to come together as a country, and we need to have more harmony in politics in general.
Okay, let me ask
all the
you.
money that was spent on this impeachment trial.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me ask you a question then. When Barack Obama was president for 8 years, were you preaching the same thing when Donald Trump said he wasn't born in this country for 5 years and it was a farce? When they had 8 investigations into Benghazi? When you had Republicans on Fox News attacking Barack Obama 24/7? All I'm asking you is, were you preaching that same thing?
I actually voted for Obama. And
so you agree with me then?
I'm ashamed of that because now we have Muslims in our government.
Okay, but that's
because of that. And he was not born in the United States. He was born in Kenya.
Oh my God. Okay, Jeannie, thank you for calling.
Really good call, Jeannie.
Yeah, he was born in Kenya, just like you were born in Africa.
I imagine you're a strong Ilhan Omar supporter.
Oh my goodness gracious, boy. 702-257-5396.
But what about us in there strong for you too, Brian? That was great.
Just so brutal. 257-5396, the number to call. Let's go to Bill. Bill, you're next up on the Vegas Take.
Bill.
How about that? Obama was born in Kenya. Ugh. Go ahead,
Hello.
Bill. What's up, Bill? What's up?
I'm thinking perhaps it's for security reasons. I'm sure that Trump Tower's been mapped out by his Secret Service, to a T, and for safety reasons, I think that's where I'd go.
So you think the reason why he stayed at his own hotel was because of security?
I'm thinking, yeah.
All the hotels in Las
Why
Vegas,
not?
all the hotels that he stayed at in Las Vegas, he could have stayed out here, and he decided to stay at his own hotel.
I'm just thinking that Trump Tower has been researched by his security team, and
but Bill,
that'd be the safest place for him.
Bill, you're saying that the reason why and the only reason why they chose to stay at the Trump International Hotel was for security reasons.
You say stuff like only, Brian. There's not going to be an only reason for anything.
Well, I'm asking Bill.
You like to do that to paint situations
well, I'm
in a
asking
corner.
Bill.
Bottom
asking
line,
Bill.
Donald Trump, it's not illegal to own a string of hotels across the United States.
Never said it was illegal. I'm asking.
Okay, so
what I said.
Until it's illegal for the president to profit off of his own investments while being president of the United States,
I didn't say that.
Then he's going to keep doing it.
I didn't say that. I don't know why you're bringing that up. Bill made a statement. He talked about security purposes,
which I agree
Bill.
with.
So you're saying, which is ridiculous. Why would staying at the Trump hotel be any better security for him than if he stayed at the Venetian? It doesn't make. He has the same number of Secret Service people.
Yeah, but it's like my house. I mean, it's very safe to me because I know it.
Right.
I've been here. I've lived here.
Okay, Bill. All right.
It does make sense. You got to admit, it makes sense.
You know why it makes sense, Bill? I'll tell you what makes sense. He stayed at the Trump Hotel because he's got his name on it, and it's profiting for his family. I appreciate the call. We got to get to some other calls. Let's go to Debbie. Debbie, you are next up on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
What's up, Debbie?
Thank you for the call, Debbie. 257-5396. Jennifer, you are next on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
Hey, Jennifer.
Morning. Don't yell at me, but I just, for 8 years, Obama, every trip took his mother-in-law, and every trip the taxpayers had to pay. She wasn't the first lady. Michelle Obama was. Every trip.
Okay, so you have
the
a
first
problem.
lady was
Okay,
there.
no problem.
And that's his home, and that's his place. Why wouldn't he want to stay at his place?
No problem.
And it might be even cheaper staying at his own place. I don't know.
So you're correlating Barack Obama bringing a member of his family with him to Donald Trump staying at his own hotel for a week, profiting off of it, and flying to 3 other cities and deciding to fly back to Las Vegas that night, costing taxpayers millions of dollars. Do I have that right?
Well, he had to come back for his rally.
No, that was Friday. You're incorrect. He stayed in Las Vegas for a week. If you were talking about specifically Friday, I would agree with you. He went to Arizona. He went to California. He went to Colorado. He didn't do that all on Friday, ma'am, with all due respect.
Yeah, but he was strategizing for his election.
So you couldn't strategize for your election in another hotel room in Arizona, California, and Colorado? The only place you could strategize was in Las Vegas? Is that your opinion?
Why do you have a problem with Donald Trump being a capitalist, Brian?
I'm sorry, Jennifer. What'd you say?
I don't understand it.
Did you want him to stay at his good friend Adelson's or Russin's?
No, I don't think you understand my point.
No, that's a good old boys club. That wouldn't work out either.
Jennifer,
that's more money being
Jennifer,
made.
I don't think you understand the point that I'm trying to make, and that is it costs $250,000 an hour to be up there in Air Force One. And if he stayed in those cities last week and then flew to his next rally, it would have saved the taxpayers millions of dollars, Jennifer. I cannot be more clear than that. 257-5396. Let's go to Jay. Jay, you're next up on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
What's up, Jay?
Yeah, I don't really understand. Like, well, what's the big deal about it? Obviously, I see it's kind of. It looks like he's paying himself there, but.
Well, not. It looks like it is. It is.
Yeah, but I mean, there's so many bigger things to be talking about, and I really don't understand why this is.
Well, let me ask you this.
I mean,
let me explain to you. I understand, Jay, and you're right. There are a lot of bigger things to talk about. I don't disagree with you, but let me explain why I'm bringing this up. It's called hypocrisy. For 5 years, Donald Trump complained that Barack Obama wasn't born in this country. For 8 years, we heard about Benghazi, and there were 9 different investigations in that. But many Republicans weren't echoing, well, you know what, there's bigger things to talk about. We just had a couple callers that said Barack Obama was born in Kenya. They actually still believe that nonsense. So the point I'm trying to make is this, Jay. If you had a problem with Barack Obama being fiscally irresponsible, then you better have the same problem with Donald Trump spending taxpayer money and profiting off of it, staying in Las Vegas. That's the only point I'm trying to make here.
I mean, I think as someone who voted for Trump, I think the argument it makes sense. Yeah, I mean, I don't see, he's not really a fiscal conservative, if anybody is being honest.
Yes.
You can look at it and say, oh, he needs to have the budget at whatever $1 trillion it is because of so it's such and such.
All right, Jay, listen,
everything else.
Jay, listen, I appreciate your call, my friend. I got to get to some other callers, but appreciate you calling in. 257-5396. Let's go to David. David, you're next on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
What's up, David?
Hey, why don't we just switch it to the amount of money that the president helps to bring into the Treasury? That's the amount of money they get to spend. A percentage of that. President Trump has brought in way more money.
That's not the law,
to the Treasury than Obama ever did. So why don't we just do it like that?
That's not the law, though.
Obama brought in almost nothing. He brought in less money, and Trump brought in more. So he's spending money that he made.
David,
pretty easy.
Well, yeah, in a perfect world, I suppose, David. But guess what?
That's not a perfect world.
That's not how the law.
World.
David, that's not how the laws work. You know that.
Did he break the law?
I didn't say he broke the law, but you just said, why doesn't he? You want to change the policy. You want to change the laws.
No, I don't want to change the policy. You want to change the policy.
What do I want to change? What do I want to change?
Change it.
What do I want to change?
He didn't break a law. He didn't break a law.
I didn't say he did.
He did what he was allowed to do.
Brian,
didn't say he did.
Brian, what's the premise of this conversation? If you don't want to change Donald Trump's behavior,
David, I didn't say he broke the law. What I'm saying is for those who you accused me of saying that. I never said he broke the law. What I did say is
I never said that. Listen to what I'm saying.
Well, you're confusing because you're talking about money that he's brought into the Treasury and then saying it should work on a basis of how much money he makes this country. He should be able to spend it any way he wants to. And I'm sorry, David, I just disagree with that premise. I disagree with that premise. This isn't how how a business should work. Whereas if the president makes a certain amount of money for, and by the way, the national debt, he's rung up more national debt in the first 3 years of his administration than Barack Obama did in his first 3 years. Let's go to Chuck. Chuck, you're next up on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
And that guy, a few callers I was going to say about the security thing, and then he's 400 G's he's not taking in his salary, and maybe they actually save money with this move. Have you looked into that?
So you think that with all the golf that Donald Trump has played at Doral and all the golf he's played at his actual resorts, and for example, what took place this last week at his own hotel, you think that he's actually saving taxpayer
we don't know
money?
That. Maybe that's why they did it.
I'm sure you're not a dumb guy, so let me ask you a question. He's played more golf than any other president in the first 3 years of an administration. Many of those.
He gets a discount.
Okay, well, hold on. Many of those golf courses are at his own resorts. So you're telling me that you don't think he's cost us money?
And that's the thing is we don't know what he's paying. We haven't seen any bills for the hotels. We haven't seen any bills for the golf courses. We have no clue. And the only way to say that he's being fiscally irresponsible is by comparing it to other bills under different circumstances.
That's not factually accurate.
Brian is basically painting himself out as someone who doesn't support capitalism by saying that Donald Trump, because he owns hotels and because he owns golf courses, and he's leveraging those, and he is putting money in his family's pocket in the process, that is not the correct thing to do. My question to you is, accurate. Brian, what is he supposed to do?
I just told you, and you're not.
So he's supposed to stay at the Venetian. He's supposed to play golf.
You want me to respond?
A course that he doesn't
I'll respond.
own. No, you need to let me finish my question before you interrupt me, and then you can respond.
I thought you asked the question.
I'm finished. I'm not.
So you have another question. All right, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, Brian, where is he supposed to play golf? Where is he supposed to stay?
Okay, well, let's start off on square one. And I talked about that the first 20 minutes of the show, but we'll start it again, okay? When you actually decide to fly to another city and do a campaign rally, and he did that 3 times last week, and then you fly back to Las Vegas to stay at your hotel, that is hours and hours on Air Force One that is unnecessary. It shouldn't have happened. It's $250,000 an hour to be on Air Force One. So we can talk about the golf. Hold on. Let me finish now. We can talk about the golf and we can talk about the hotels. That's a separate situation. But specifically about Air Force One, there was no reason why he had to fly back to Las Vegas to stay at his Trump hotel. I can only think of one reason. He wanted to stay in his Trump hotel for one reason and one reason only. Money.
That's the wrong reason.
So why then? Tell me.
Because it's his hotel. Because, again, he knows the terrain of his hotel. He understands the logistics of his hotel.
That's ridiculous.
Brian, do you know that Air Force One is about 3 times as fast as any commercial airline?
Okay, well, it's a fact, and they actually did out the work.
Yeah.
It's a fact.
How long did it take him to travel from California to Las Vegas?
It is a fact that they estimated that and this is true, by the way, that they estimated he flew an extra 7 hours on Air Force One. Now, keep in mind, it's not just getting on that plane. It's the time they're taxiing. It's the time security purposes, all these other things involved. And the fact that he was on that plane for an extra 7 hours than he shouldn't have been cost taxpayers a couple $1 million. It's very simple.
What does taxiing take up in fuel, Brian?
All I know is that it's $250,000 an hour.
What does sitting there take up in fuel? Nothing.
Again,
I'm saying in the actual air, which
we're
is
not talking about fuel. Just fuel here.
Fuel is the major expense, right?
It is $250,000 an hour to use Air Force One. That's a fact. We got it. Let's try to sneak in one more call. Let's go to David. David, thanks for calling into the Vegas Take. What's on your mind?
Hey, what's up, David?
Hey, good morning, guys. First of all, Brian, I'm going to agree with you. I think that you're absolutely right with the logistics, and they have to delay a whole bunch of other flights, right, to keep the flight path clear.
Correct.
There's a lot of inconvenience.
Yes, sir. That's a very good point. Yes, sir.
Okay, but now I'm going to give you the other side to that. There could be, and I don't know because there's a lot of support staff that come along with him. Right?
Absolutely.
That are staying at the hotel.
Yes.
Okay, a lot of those people may not have had to go with him to the rallies and so forth and might have stayed behind in Vegas. If they didn't do that, they would have to move them to this hotel, move them to that hotel, move the computers, move the security.
And that's possible. And that's possible, David. Here's what we do know. The Secret Service that travels with him, we're traveling with him. All his advisors.
Well, that I do know, too.
Yeah. And the advisors, the campaign advisors, and specific members of the media, and like I said, Secret Service, that sort of thing. So while you're right that not everybody had to travel with him, the important person that traveled was the president. And I think we both agree on this, David. He shouldn't have come back to Las Vegas every night after one of those rallies. That's all I'm saying.
Well, That seems to be the case. And then one last point. When Barack Obama used to stay here, he stayed out in Lake Las Vegas. And the reason he did that, I think part of the reason, there's one way in, one way out. It's really easy to secure, and it didn't disrupt the strip.
I agree.
I think the same is true with Trump Tower because it's on the end over there off of Industrial. They can go in the back way. If he stayed at the Venetian or the Bellagio, they would have to close the Strip. They'd have to close Tropicana. They'd have to close everything around. It would be a nightmare.
And that's
so
a fair.
I think logistically it makes sense.
All right, and listen, David, that's a fair point. But I think we both agree on this. He shouldn't have flown back to Las Vegas, those 3 campaign rallies. That was a waste of taxpayer money. We're taking your phone calls on the other side of the break, 702-257-5396. If you want to be a part of the program, we will get to all your calls on the other side. I promise you. Stay patiently on hold. We'll be right back after this. You're listening to The Vegas Take.